Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Ryan Graham.
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber.
Hello.
And this is State of Atlanta. Oh, man, that's sprayed all over the place.
Mine too, but I got Guinness, so.
Yeah. Welcome back, guys. Welcome.
This beer brought to you by my child's school.
You got beer from your child's school?
Yeah, they texted me this morning and said, "Hey, are you dropping Izzy off?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Good, I have something for you." And I walked into the office and they had an 8-pack of Guinness for me.
Well, that's a good school.
Why? Was there more reason to it than that, or just
it was a thank you for coordinating like a workday thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I did like some project management for him basically, and I got some beer out of it.
Your time is worth $8.99.
Oh yeah.
Hey, an 8-pack of Guinness is more than that.
I don't know. I just pick it up and go. I actually don't get Guinness that often, anyways. But
it's usually just for me, I think.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we got some news today to talk about. Found out that our beloved defensive coordinator is sadly leaving to go to Cincinnati.
all of those bold-faced words can be replaced with whatever word you like, really.
And we will all be helping pack up the U-Haul and send him on his way, right?
Yeah. Does he need help? We're there.
He's joined the P6. He's joined the transitional P6, right?
Yeah, Cincy.
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, but for a lesser job, he's a defensive coordinator here, but I think it's what linebacker coach is. Coordinator,
and I don't have any facts to back this up as per usual, but I would bet it's more money. It's
for sure.
P6 is definitely more money. Yeah.
So it's the Appy pipeline though. I mean, it's the whole Appy coaching tree moving around because it's Satterfield up at Cincy. And it's just the typical. Appy has a whole coaching tree that has like made its way throughout, really like G5 mostly now, but I think it's moving into P5 at this point. And it's a pretty good coaching tree. So we're in it.
Sure.
Yeah, we're in it. Yeah, I think also in addition to the money, Ben was speculating that it's probably for a multi-year deal versus only getting a 1 to 2 year deal here. It's probably a 3 to 4 year deal at Cincy. So lock up more money for longer makes sense. I mean, hey, Tim, you posted a thing in our group chat about Georgia State's defense under Fuqua, and that making it sound like it was a lot better than what it feels like we watched on the field. What's your take on Fuqua's defense and taking off?
I mean, I don't disagree with the statement made. I think it was by some Cincinnati reporter, right? That we had the most sacks. We did start recording more sacks in the last couple of years, but I don't know. I remember lots of games where I'm like, our defense just is not getting it done. I mean, our offense wasn't either, but our defense wasn't too. So,
and stats aren't everything, right?
Right.
What we watched on the field was in clutch situations where we needed to make stops. We were not always making those stops.
Yeah.
And so whether or not they stopped them, 90% of the time, they didn't stop them when it mattered, and that caused games to be L's. So I mean, like we sat there and watched a team like fold in opportune times, and so stats don't always tell the whole story. And
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure if you looked at other stats anyway, it would tell a more interesting story than just cherry picking two things over however many years Fuqua was here. So
Yeah, that, and I'm kind of curious on those stats. Were they looking at just the second half of the season? Because it always felt like we would start the season defense being absolute garbage, and we were just like, fire Fuqua, and then like the last half of the season, all of a sudden starting putting things together, getting stops, getting sacks, getting interceptions. But it was never for a full season. It was always the second half, and they'd keep his job for another season.
Yeah, to add what Ryan was saying, we would inherently all know that we have to get a stop on this last series, and we would almost never get it in the second half of the season. They're always, the other team would just drive that, like, oh, we scored too soon, right? I remember saying that. Oh,
right.
Too much time on the clock. So I mean, it's
Yep.
I don't know. It's good.
Yeah.
I think we're all, as Georgia State fans, as small as we are in our fan base, I think we were ready for some change. So, hopefully, it could be weird, but hopefully it's a positive when we're on the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a fan base perspective, those that have been following along we're excited to see that Fuqua is moving on. So, yeah, that's good.
Did the Panther
Go
Talk
ahead.
people are mostly positive there? I'm pretty sure one of us looked right.
They had pretty much the same kind of responses we had in our group chat. Hallelujah, gifs and images and things like that. So, but a big question was like, this sucks at this time of the year. Like we're already in the middle of spring training because Coach Elliott needs more time on his boat in South Carolina. So now you got to go find somebody, and it's going to be kind of hard to find someone at this point. I think that the expectation is probably somebody internal will be interim promoted throughout spring practice, and then after spring practice is over, try to find a permanent solution. But that's all just speculation from fan side of things. Makes sense, but yeah.
I mean, I'm personally hoping we get some fresh blood from the outside. I don't really want to see someone promoted into the DC role. I want someone dynamic, someone that's different. I want to see a different defense on the field next year.
Yeah, we've seen speculative lists, and it looks like there's some internal considerations likely, but yeah, I mean, we all agreed privately that like we want to see some new blood, right? We want somebody new coming in, maybe even somebody who might make a splash. Which a couple of the names being tossed around are it seems like good hires. So personally, let's get Mentor back.
I would love that.
See, Fuqua left. Fuqua left. Fuqua left, not Coach Elliott. So yeah, the next time Mentor coaches for Georgia State, if he ever does again, it's going to be in a head coaching capacity. But
yeah,
I don't see that. Ever happening.
I don't see that happening either. But a man can have a dream.
You just go to the clear answer. It's someone from App, right?
It's going to be a head coaching tree for sure, right? So you start looking at what defensive minds are in that coaching tree, and you start seeing. I mean, those are the names that are probably going to be considered.
We should just ask Black and Gold. I'm sure they know who it is already.
They probably do. We could have them on, and they would tell us.
Tell us exactly who's going to be coming up, which we should have had him on because we're playing App State tomorrow in basketball, or as you're listening to this tonight in basketball. But yeah, there was a couple of names that were kind of interesting. One of the ones that was rumored, not rumored as getting the job, but as speculative as someone that would be Coach Elliott may talk to, was the defensive coordinator in Army. And I just I don't think you leave Army for Georgia State for the same job, for the exact same job. I just don't. That doesn't make sense to me, unless you just want to get out of West Point, because there's a lot of hills there. I found that out. A lot of hills.
Lots of extra workouts that you didn't sign up for, huh?
Exactly. They make you do that for the trip up there on the boat. It lands, and they have a bus that takes you most of the way.
Oh.
It a school bus. It was like I thought they thought that Trash Down South was playing up there, and they were trying to be nice to us and put school buses out there for us. But no, they take most of the way, but there's still a hell of a hike once you get there. It was not. I mean, it's pretty. But that's about it.
I mean, honestly though, the service academies are like such a weird beast. Like they're kind of their own thing, and I can imagine people either not liking it or like really like that just being the pinnacle of their career. Like there's like, I don't know, there's probably a lot of thoughts that go into that because it's so different, right? I mean, you're actually dealing with enlisted men rather than college students, which is far different. And I don't know, I that was the name that I was like least excited about, but anything's possible.
Yeah.
You never know why someone might want to leave somewhere, really, is what I'm trying to say. And I say that with recruiting too, right? People say like, oh, Atlanta has all, this, and this, and that's why it's best, or this, and this, and that's why it's the worst. But like to each person, to each individual, they're going to be looking at this and they're going to be saying like making their own weights and weighing it on their own. And so like somebody might want out of West Point and into Atlanta for any number of reasons. Maybe his wife wants
Magic
to work
City.
at Emory, or
Magic
like
City.
there's lots of
Magic
reasons
City.
you might move.
The
What?
Magic City Wings.
Yeah, the Wings.
Also, yeah, you might
Wings
just want. That's right. I almost cussed. Whoops.
Will be interesting to see.
I got
guess.
excited.
I mean, for the Magic City Wings. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm with you guys. Want somebody from outside, but yeah, realistically, it's probably going to have a connection to App State or South Carolina, USC, South Carolina.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So anyhow, that's all really for football. Do we have to talk about basketball? Is that like a requirement?
We do, and you know what?
I guess.
I promise.
Sure.
Our most negative fan that I would self I don't know, whatever.
Defecate.
No. Jesus, no. I was very sure last week that we would beat Coastal, and I said over and over and over again, very drunkenly, that we were going to win that game, and that it would be silly to consider that we wouldn't. And well, here we are, 2 losses later. I was wrong.
Tried hard though.
I was
Well,
not.
it's not about that though.
I mean, I don't think I said that. I don't think I said anything about guaranteeing a win against Coastal, but I definitely felt like it was possible considering how we played them previously. But I was all in on that we were going to beat Arkansas State. There was no doubt in my mind. That was go ahead, get out the Sharpie, put it in the scorebook. That's going to be a win against Arkansas State. So pie on my face on that one. This team never fails to disappoint. So, yeah.
Well, I wish they would disappoint that fan and not us, right? I mean, like if you're going to disappoint anyone, disappoint the person who's calling for the loss, right?
Well, that's yeah. No, I mean, like at no point in my fandom of any of my teams have I ever been excited about us losing a game. That includes the Braves, that includes the Falcons,
right.
includes every sport at Georgia State. I have never rooted for a loss for any reason. I have. Like a lot of people, specifically when it comes to pro football, there's a lot of people out there that want to cheer for their team to lose the last few games for a better draft pick. Never. It's just not in me to cheer for my team to lose. And you got to question someone's fandom when they actively celebrate their team losing a game. I just don't understand it.
It's pretty messed up.
I
do
can't ever
advocate very quickly for my NFL fix, which is the whole you play for the first pick, and so it's the best team that doesn't make the playoffs gets the first pick. So you're always playing for something. I fix the problem. Anyway,
yep,
I like it.
Yeah,
I can't ever root against Georgia State. Like, why?
I don't understand why you would ever do that. I mean,
even if I bet against us, I would be rooting for me to lose money, right? If I
it's a
bet
win-win.
money that we would lose. If I went out there and I said like Coastal is probably going to beat us, so I'm going to put like $20 on it, I would hope that I lost $20.
Right. Yeah, it's a win-win in that situation because if you lose the game, you win the money. If you win the game, you win the game. That also said, I would never actually put money against any of my teams.
I wouldn't either,
so,
but if I did.
That just seems like you're messing with something, messing with karma somehow. I don't gamble
on anything anyway because I'm bad at it, and it does tend to go the opposite way that I bet. So
I signed up for DraftKings when I was in New York because it's legal to do there, not to do here. And I put $100 in the account and made a few bets here and there while I was up there, and realized afterwards I did this when I was drunk with my father-in-law, and then I realized I put in the wrong email address. And now I can't withdraw my money because it needs email verification. And I haven't been able to figure that out yet. So if there's a David O. Brown out there that uses Apple's email service, you can probably pull $100 of my money out of DraftKings. So what are the O and the P doing so close to each other on a keyboard in a dimly lit room when my buzzed drunk eyes are trying to look at a tiny little iPhone mini keyboard? It did not work out well for me. So anyhow. So I thought about just like placing a huge bet on something just to clear out the account and like lose the money, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that if I did win, if I won, then I'd actually be really very proactive about getting the money out.
That's true.
Yeah, if you pull up the app in Georgia, it just doesn't work. So I can't even mess with it again until I go back to New York or another state that allows
VPN.
Allows gambling.
Hey, Governor, when are we getting
do
gambling here in Georgia?
Well, VPN, but also sports betting probably is going to be legalized this session. I would bet, unless they try to attach all kinds of other nonsense to it. Sports betting is likely to pass. I think it's got the momentum as long as there's no poison pills.
Excellent.
That's as political as we're going to get
on this podcast forever.
Well, it's sports related. It is sports related. I think
and important, sense. Right? I mean, for that.
Yeah. I often wonder whether or not, because I enjoy gambling. I enjoy betting on different games or just playing blackjack or something. But I've always only done it when it's been hard to do. I've got to go out of state to a casino, or I got to go out of state to be able to bet on stuff. So I've always done it I've got an unlimited capacity. I've gone gambling, and I've always been fearful. While I believe it should be everyone's right to gamble whenever they want to, wherever they are, I'm fearful of it coming to Georgia for my own personal thing, because I don't know how much I'll start doing it even more. So, but I support it coming.
It'll be fine.
I hope it does.
Yeah. I was actually, was one of those suckers who saw the commercial. I'm like, I can do this? What? And then I tried to register. It's like, no, you can't. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, not in your dumb state.
Yeah, for now.
So back onto basketball. We have we saw today that 2 players will not be returning next year. They're going to be celebrated. I guess not celebrated. They're just Kalik Brooks and Joe Jones will not be back to the team after tomorrow. After I guess Friday's game, but this will be their last game at home against Appy. So that's 2 spots that are opening up for Coach Hayes to find some new bodies in there that can hopefully shoot the ball. Because Ryan, that
was expected though, right? That they wouldn't come back. I mean that we were going to have two spots.
I think that Ben used the term forced attrition.
Encouraged attrition.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Brooks is a junior. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got that going on. I don't know, man. App State,
after this season, Coach really has to do something next year, right? I mean, so if he needs to go out on a limb and be like, look, my team has to come a little bit faster, more power to him. Don't you do it, David.
I do think this team needs to come a little bit faster. I agree.
We're way slow at coming faster. Way slow.
Y'all, last call.
Okay, yes.
Anyway.
All right, you got my mind.
So I think what Ryan's trying to say is that in this day and age, you can't rely on multiple years to build up your team. It's kind of like a 1-year process here. And we didn't have a good first year, and he's got one more. I don't know. You got transfer portal, you got recruits. There's no reason you can't plug and play a better team together. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially after this season.
With basketball too, with so few playmakers that like per team, one person can be a difference maker. So if you can slot in 2 new people, do it, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then also with your normal just recruits that are coming in, your freshmen that are coming in. So we'll have some new bodies in there. And yeah, like Ryan, like you're getting at, basketball is one of the easiest types of programs to turn around, because all it takes is 1 or 2 just studs in the stable to make you come faster.
Jesus.
Wow. We're already off. This is last call.
Boy. All right.
So we got App State on Wednesday, James Madison on Friday. Do the silly Wednesday, Friday games instead of Thursday, Saturday, because it's the end of the season and whatever. The tournament starts next Tuesday down in Pensacola. And Tim, I'm going to assume you're not going this year.
Yeah, no. I don't have a good feeling about the turnout this year for Georgia State.
But you went down there for good times, not necessarily to see us win, right? Generally.
I mean, I always felt like we had a chance to win the last few years.
That's true.
If we were this bad, no, I wouldn't have gone the last few years. But this year, I just don't see it at all. Like, there's no surge at the end of the season into the tournament to even think like,
it's all been a facade.
It's all facade.
I mean, the way that the schedule, the way the brackets is scheduled or set up, configured, is you do get to play the absolute garbage teams of the conference get to play each other as kind of a play-in style game. So, so if things were to end the way they are now, we would be playing Texas State, who only actually have they've doubled our wins. They have 6 wins to our 3 conference wins, but they're the 11 seed. We would be the 14 seed. I mean, there's a chance there, possibly, but
there's a chance for any game. But we just don't seem to do it very often.
Like Ben was saying,
exponentially harder, right?
Like Ben was saying last week, if we just scored an average of 2.5, 3.5 points more per game, we would have won. Was it 9 more games or something like that? So
we would have been north of middle of the pack.
Yeah, 3rd or 4th place, 5th place, maybe.
The women's team has more wins than the men's team does, both conference and overall. That's it's a different day and age for Georgia State basketball right now, but hopefully
it's a different year.
We get back on track.
Not different an age,
different year. Different age, different year. Yeah, it's true. That's true.
But actually, you know what?
That's
Talking about the tournament, if we somehow slip by the surging Texas State Bobcats, we got Old Dominion next, which that's not actually a terrible draw. It's at the 6th seed.
ODU? So, I thought it was going to
change
be.
Again.
I thought Troy. Oh. I thought Troy would be based off this way the schedule is. Or wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Troy's 6 seed.
I'm just entrusting now. The crazy fans on the Facebook group that posted the seeds. I don't know.
Oh,
they might be wrong.
I mean, I could be. I mean, well, I guess Troy and Old Dominion are tied at 9-7 apiece, but on the Sunbelt page, Old Dominion is ranked higher. So,
we definitely don't want Troy. They have our number. Old Dominion, not so much.
Who didn't have our number? Coastal one time.
Coastal.
What are our 3 wins? We beat Coastal, Trash Down South, and who else did we? South Alabama, I think. I think we beat South Alabama.
Or was it Southern Miss?
No, we didn't beat Southern Miss. I think they're undefeated in.
We don't even know who we beat this year. That's how bad we are. Wow.
I'm pretty confident.
Who was
South
it?
Alabama. I'm pretty confident South Alabama.
It was. You're right. South Alabama by 10.
Man, I knew something. That was the beginning of the season too, right? Was that the first game? First conference game of the season?
Second conference game. We lost to James Madison.
Yeah. It's ugly purple color. Anyhow. All right. I got nothing else on basketball. Fork on it. It's dead. There was some excitement over the weekend down in Panthersville, apparently, during the baseball doubleheader against Cincinnati. Well, first of all, congrats to the dudes on Friday. They opened the season with a 12-2 win over Cincinnati, which is kind of funny that we played them and then we find out that Fuqua is going to Cincinnati, but obviously unrelated unless he got on the bus with them, the flight back, save some money.
Save a little money
that way. I don't. Yeah. But then lost the first game on Saturday and then had a ruled double forfeit on Saturday evening in the second game, which we were winning, by the way. It was the 7th inning, and we were up 3-2, and I guess there was a hard slide into second on a double play. Words were exchanged, fists were exchanged, benches cleared. Yeah, and apparently
you gotta love it.
I love it.
It's awesome. College baseball, or the NCAA takes benches clearing very seriously, so it's an immediate ejection for anybody that clears the bench, and then also a suspension after that.
I love it. You got to really believe in something to do it. Then you got to be like, you know what, I am going, and this game the next game doesn't matter. I'm gonna get off this bench and beat that guy's ass.
Pretty much what they did.
Beat that guy. You're gonna get off and beat that guy's ass.
You guys.
Oh man,
I said get off the bench.
This is a interesting episode.
I paraphrased. I paraphrased. So
look, guys, we need to come faster. Okay.
Is that the new gelling and knocking the rust off? Is we got to come faster?
Oh, no, please no.
I can see the T-shirts already. There we go. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I guess the game wasn't on. You couldn't watch it on ESPN Plus. You only listened to it. It was weird though. It seems like the schools are trying to do everything they can to keep description of what happened away. I found out from Brady over at Thursday night in Panther Talk is where I got the information from. But like Georgia State does not list that game at all. There's just one note on their game for the first game that the second game was suspended, and then Cincinnati, their website doesn't look like have anything about that second game at all on there. And I even found a Sports Illustrated had an article about the series for Cincinnati and a pro Cincinnati type thing, and they just referred to Cincinnati winning 2 of 3 games, like no acknowledgement, like they don't want anyone to know that there was a game that was suspended for benches clearing. It's just strange to me that they would do that. I don't know.
Well, wait, what happened in the next game though? Right, because like all these players weren't there. So did we lose the next game, and did they lose the next game?
18 players from Georgia State were out. 11 players from Cincinnati were out, which tells me that either Cincinnati has smarter players or Georgia State has more passionate players, because they didn't care about the rule and they went out there to defend their guy, Matt Ruiz, I think is who it was.
And was that next game a Georgia State versus Cincinnati game? So did we play them again with just way fewer players and then we lost?
Yep. Yeah, we lost 4-6 in that game. And I guess they
gave NCAA runs is pretty good.
Cincinnati. The NCAA, I believe this is true, gave the teams the option to stagger out the suspensions since it was so many people. Like, a few guys this game, a few guys for that game. But both teams opted to do everything in the very next game. Probably a good reason, because all those guys are the ones that were probably going to start like getting even more physical or
you know what? Let's just bench these guys. Yeah. They already like swung on each other. Let's just bench them. That's totally fair.
Right.
You know what? We're gonna call this one a loss.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. So, but impressive start. I think they had like 8 home runs over the course of the 3.5 games. Hopefully, some good stuff from the pinstripe. I call them pinstripe Panthers. I know a lot of people call them the Diamond Panthers. But I like pinstripe Panthers sound better. Although they weren't wearing pinstripes.
Wait, that's the other team.
They weren't wearing pinstripes. So
do we have a pinstripe uniform anymore, or no?
We used to. Because I make sure before I ever started using the term pinstripe Panthers, I made sure to go check our jerseys. And at that time, which was like probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we were wearing pinstripes. They weren't. They were wearing all blues, I believe, this weekend. Got
good.
brown. Yeah, not good. Brown on this weekend, and I guess we'll figure out. I guess we'll see how that goes. What else do you got, guys?
Yeah. I think that's it.
That's it.
Is there any more news?
Let's see.
Did we want to talk about rule changes, or did we want to save that for last call?
We'll talk about the rule change since we're only like 26, 28 minutes into it and everything.
Yeah,
but there was one other thing. Track and field hired a new head coach, and we're friends with a couple of former track and field athletes from Georgia State, and it's not sitting well with them. This is a promotion from within, and we may have them on at some point in the next week or two to talk about it. But they have said that back when they were around running for Georgia State, it was a very good program with high expectations, even though it wasn't funded very well, and how it's been completely neglected by the administration, and they are not happy. And they say there's several alum that are not happy as well. So, we got that going on. So, but
sounds saucy.
Yeah, on to college football rule changes. Tim, you sent this one. Well, Ryan, you sent this one. One of y'all sent this over. Who wants to get into it?
Ryan.
I sent it. I can go through it. I actually pulled it up because I figured you'd put me on the spot. So
yep.
So there's some rule changes going on or being debated at the NCAA level for college football to reduce the amount of time per game. I guess they're saying the games are too long. My vote is to reduce the number of commercials, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the easy peasy, right? Without
Right.
messing with the game. Like, let's just do fewer commercials. That'll be fine.
Well, if you figure that a game is 60 minutes of clock time, but takes 4 hours because of all the commercials and timeouts and all that kind of stuff, which one would you aim for first on reducing the time of the game? The 60 minutes of playtime or the 3 hours of not playtime?
Indeed.
Yes, I agree.
We know what the rational answer is, but the moneyed answer is let's talk about playtime.
Let's hurry up that game so we can get to those commercials.
That's right.
Exactly.
So there's 4 rule changes that are being considered, and they were broken up in this article in a way that I thought made sense. So I'm going to break them down this way. But there were 2 really non-controversial rule changes. A third one that is like widely supported, that I guess is still a little bit more controversial, which that doesn't make any sense. And then the fourth one is going to be like hotly debated. So the first 2 though, one, prohibiting consecutive timeouts. So sorry, Miles, Miles. No,
Coach Miles. Yeah, so effectively it's trying to get rid of get rid of the icing the kicker. You know, you couldn't call 3 timeouts.
Which doesn't happen very often though. Like that's
You
not
call
a common
one, though, right?
What?
Yeah, you can call
one
you can call a
timeout, right?
timeout.
Yeah.
You can call
You
a
call
timeout.
one timeout. You don't call another timeout, right? If you got like
Right.
3 saved up, for instance, and you're playing in a snowstorm, and you decide that you want to ice the kicker literally 3 times, and then make them make a decision not to actually kick the ball anymore. That wouldn't even happen anymore, right? That couldn't happen.
Right.
It would be illegal. So
Yeah,
non-controversial from a Georgia State's perspective because we booed that man loudly.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I'm fine with this one. Like they said, it makes sense. This is something that is extending the length of the game, by the 30 seconds or whatever, to 45 seconds, whatever the timeout time is at that point, depending on when the game is. But yeah, I got no problem with that. I'm A-okay with that.
Yeah. So number 2 was no longer extending a first or third quarter for an on-time down if the quarter ends on a defensive penalty. The down would instead be clocked starting the next quarter. I don't really understand what that means.
Yeah, so you can't end a quarter on a defensive penalty. So basically, if something happens, the clock is stopped at the 15-minute mark, and they just run another play. How long's the average play? How long's the average play? 15 seconds. Okay, wow, you're and how often does that happen in a game? Or
That's what I was gonna say.
How many games does that happen?
How many times does this ever happen?
Yeah. So it could happen at maximum 2 times in a game because you only have a first quarter. You can only end a first quarter, end a third quarter 1 time each. So you're talking about, all right, you saved a minute and a half of a 4-hour game right there. I mean, yeah, yep. I'm pretty much fine with it. I'm kind of fine with it but my only issue would be the integrity of the quarter. Like the game gets played in that quarter type thing versus just moving over. But I'm not willing to fight over it. So whatever. If they want to do that, do that. It just seems nickel and diming type stuff. So all right, Ryan, go ahead and continue.
Number 3.
Yeah. So the third proposal is basically it would be that hold on, I got it. The clock will continue to run after an offense gains a first down, except inside of 2 minutes and a half. So you basically have you wouldn't be able to like control the clock as well. With
it's the
first
same
downs,
thing that happens in the NFL.
With first downs, but only when
you're
paying attention to it, right? So like typically fans are only paying attention to managing the clock in those last 2 minutes anyway, and so the idea is that if you just keep running the clock anyway, it's fine.
It's the same thing that the NFL is.
Right.
The clock continues to run on a first down. I don't like it because for no other reason than I don't like a rule that applies only sometimes. Like why is the last 2 minutes any different than the other minutes of the game? Like a rule should be applied unilaterally.
Well,
Okay, I can't say that word.
I mean, already like penalties and stuff that get called more often in the last like 2 minutes of a game, right? You start seeing them get a lot more aggressive about calling penalties and stuff right when it matters, but it doesn't mean it didn't actually matter 10 minutes before when the game wasn't necessarily on the line. Like that call or non-call had as much impact on the game as the call or non-call in the last couple minutes. It just doesn't feel like that while you're watching it.
Right.
And so it's just sort of like, it does feel arbitrary.
They should just have the clock run all the time, even on penalties. Just let it run. Just go. I'm just kidding.
Soccer style.
Don't do that. Yeah, soccer style.
Well, no.
What we count
while
we're at it.
If they really wanted to shorten the time of games, how about we get rid of holding penalties? Those happen like 87 times a drive. You got rid of holding penalties, then you would have a lot more time.
Well, at least lighten it up. Like somebody who has their hand around. I mean, like in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, the player who held said he held, but we all watched it. He really just had his arm sort of around the guy, in a sort of a weird way. But when you watch it, like it had no impact on the play at all. But the penalty did have an impact on the game. Yeah. And so like yes, he held, but like no, you shouldn't have called it. So maybe like just even less aggressive play, like penalty calling on that, right? Like just saying like unless you've got unless you've got jersey in your hand, it's not a hold.
Yeah, and it's also not a hold if you're grabbing by the hair. Like that's fine and legal as well, but not that jersey.
Right. No jersey.
We can't ruin that jersey. No way. All right, and then the controversial one, right?
Yeah, so the controversial one. All right, here it is. The clock will continue to run after an incomplete pass once the ball is spotted for play. So incomplete passes would stop the clock still, but the clock would start when the ball was spotted, not when it snapped.
Got it. So just let the clock run always then.
So except for the clock
minutes.
Still stops, right? You can still manage the clock a little bit as an offense if you're throwing the ball. You still would want to throw the ball more than you want to run it for sure. But you'd also you need to be playing quick at that point because the clock is going to start running as soon as that ball is spotted, as opposed to waiting until it's snapped.
So I mean, if you're an up-tempo offense, you're ready to go. These rules don't really do anything to you, but if you're a slow team, you got to make a lot of changes.
Well, don't be a slow team.
Just score every play. You're fine.
There you go.
Wait, hold on. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say for controversial rule, I don't find it that controversial. Like I really don't care that much.
Was more controversial.
Yeah, exactly. But in all, they're finding ways to reduce the amount of football we're watching, not the amount of commercials we're watching. And of course, I know, yes, you're not getting rid of commercials. You're not getting rid of that money. That's why it's all here. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry or whatever. But you're also talking about looking at things that are shaving seconds off of a game, off of a 4-hour broadcast. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, and frankly, like, when I was reading the article, they were talking about the NFL has already implemented a bunch of these. When I plan time to watch football, when football is my plan, I plan for 4 hours from kick. Like that's it, right? It doesn't matter if it's NFL or NCAA. Like I don't actually care. I plan for 4 hours. Anything after 4 hours, I can like make other commitments. Sometimes I'm gonna be a little drunk, but like I can make some light commitments. But like 4 hours, that's about what it takes. So like, what are we gonna shave off here? Like 20 minutes, and then we just get less football. And what are we actually gaining here?
Well, have you ever complained about how long the games are?
No.
It's like what are they like? Literally, why then? Why do all this? Leave it alone. It's fine.
It's fine.
Are they trying to get more viewers by the game being 3 hours and 56 minutes instead of 4 hours? Because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about shaving off seconds from a game,
right?
It's not that much.
Did the article state how much time they would gain? Like, did they take a game and simulate how many seconds less this would be?
They said.
Minutes?
on rule number 3 about the first downs, the clock running, they said there's 20 plus first downs in a game. So you factor that in as being, a few seconds, whatever how long it takes them to start their play there, 20 times that number. Yeah, but still. But like you said, Tim, you have your up-tempo offenses that doesn't really matter to them. That's all they're going to get up there to the line, and they're going to shove the ball down your throat. Play after play after play after play. So,
yep.
Which is a form of football that I thoroughly enjoy because offense is exciting. Ryan likes
so maybe
the
that's a good change for you
scores
because it would encourage it. I don't know. I just don't think we're saving a whole lot, and I don't think we're going to lose very much by even passing these rules, but I do like what I noticed is it takes away a bit of the dimensionality of the game, right? So there's a little bit of like extra finesse that goes into play calling and managing a clock and all of that, and it sort of like diminishes that and turns it more into just like the raw football on the field and less about the coaching, like three-dimensional chess,
the gamesmanship of football.
Right. And that sucks, right? Like that, I think that's part of the game, and it's a fun part of the game, and it's an important part of the game, and I think you diminish that.
I figured out the biggest downside for us, guys.
What's that?
Cutoff time will come sooner.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I don't like these rules at all. Get rid of them.
Tim's been doing that this whole time. Like, when am I going to stop drinking?
Tim, are you telling me that the cutoff time will come faster?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tim's like carry the 2. Subtract 4.
Yeah, it means I got to get home to the wife and kids even earlier. No, come on. I think we should. There should be 6 quarters in a game, which doesn't make any mathematical sense. But
more commercials
after game happy hour. There we go.
Exactly.
But let's be real here. It is the media timeouts that take the most time of any game, right?
There is no reason outside of money for there to be TV timeouts. It makes no sense.
Yep.
The team timeouts, I can even get an officials timeout if officials need a timeout, but a TV timeout, that's blatantly just the money grab, which again, I support the money. I understand
it. Soccer does fine though. Soccer does fine.
Soccer does do fine. And I think that's one of the reasons they said they didn't want to have stoppage or clock stop in soccer for penalties or for injuries was because they did not want to turn into what football is.
Yeah, they knew it would just be a commercial.
Timeouts. Yeah, it'd just be commercials. And now your 90-minute game is going to end up taking 4 hours again. So,
well, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, I came up with the rule that it was anytime a foot touches the ball in football, there's a commercial.
Yeah.
But I think there's more now. I think they actually now they'll in the middle of a set of downs, they'll just roll a commercial and you're like, what's happened? Like, we're in the middle of a set of downs. What are we doing here?
Which could be beneficial to the team on offense or it could be beneficial to the team on defense, but someone's going to get a chance to catch their breath and figure out what they're going to do next.
There's been games that they've come back from commercials and the play is happening, so they didn't even stop playing. We just didn't get to watch it.
Oh, right. I hate that. That's the worst. That's the absolute worst. All right. Well, I think we beat that one to death as well. You guys got anything else before last call?
No, I gotta pee.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're
all right.
welcome.
Well, thanks, everybody, for listening. We're going to go over to last call and drink some more and talk about how many more things need to come faster. You can find it on our Patreon page at patreon.com/stateofatlanta. It is free of charge. But if you do join for as little as $3 a month, access to early access to that, as well as access to our private group chat, discounts on merchandise, blah, 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 all the fun stuff. Please consider helping support the channel. So thanks, everybody, for listening, and say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.